see. All right, we're on. What's poppin'? This is BMOC. You're now tuned into BMOC.TV. What's going on, y'all? Tonight we're talking about a very interesting topic that's been popping up in our group. Talking about celebrity depression and mental health. Due to the recent issues with Kanye West and then Kid Cudi. I really wanted to get into this, man, and dig deeper into this topic. Before I start off the episode, shout out to all of my brothers, man, of the oldest and coldest fraternity on the planet, Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Shout out to us, man. And this isn't shade. Shout out to all the other organizations, because when it's our founding day, it's your founding day too. So this is fact. So shout out to you guys too. Shout out to all of us. All of us can celebrate today. So pay homage. All right, so let's go around the room. The best co-host in the planet. Oh yeah, shout out. Oh yeah, hold on. Got the chain on. Got the chains on. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, what's up? Bye bye. Cool. Okay. All right. So shout out the best co-host around the planet, man. What's going on? Just shout out to the people, brother. What's up?
What's going on, world? How you doing? Live from the 916. Glad that you could be with us again. Thank you for tuning in last week. Got a very heavy topic today and some other great co-hosts, so let's get into it.
Yeah, I'm still gonna make it funny though. So this can be serious. We're still gonna have some laughs, because I got some jokes I want to get off.
So I get these jokes off.
It's gonna be sensitive jokes though, but we're gonna get them jokes. Jessica, she's back with us. Say what's up to the people, Jessica. What's up?
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me again. I'm ready to talk and have some jokes, and also be serious as well.
Jessica, she be fooling y'all, yo. She got those workout joints. She be doing the dance.
Word.
She hit the Jamiroquai. She like she'll be dancing, the room just be moving, and then she dances.
Ain't no lie. Bye.
Jessica dance room. Just what's up? Well, yeah, shout out to her. Talib, man, say what's up to the people, bro.
Yo, what's going on? It's Talib back again. Rap Nerd Lead, aka all that good stuff. Let's get it on.
Cool, I'm back. I didn't expect the intro to be so long. All right.
Gotta stall.
I thought I had more time. Okay, cool. Let's get into it. Some flew into my eye. I think it was some hate. I don't know. And I wipe it off, stir off my shoulders. All right, so tonight we're going to talk about celebrities and mental health, man. So I want to start this off by saying I think that Kid Cudi kind of brought the discussion up recently. First, because he was like, he was going through depression. And it was taking a while to get the album together. He was actually checking himself into a facility to deal with the issue. And so that was like, it seemed really genuine. He wrote a whole note on Facebook. It was a lot of paragraphs. People was filling them. And then I think, was it Drake? Because I think Cudi had dissed Drake at some point.
Right.
Actually, no. I'm sorry. Let me back up. Before he wrote that note, he got on Twitter and said, Kanye was trying to take his style and Drake was taking his style and throwing little shots, right? And then he he wrote the note. And I think Kanye addressed him before the note. And I think Drake addressed him after the note. Because Drake had the song, he mentioned something about, Drake mentioned something about Cudi being depressed. And so we were kind of addressing it like, where's the line? If somebody's saying they're going through depression, they're going through some kind of mental health situation, is that fair game to just come at them like that?
Sure.
After that, Kanye, who's just being Kanye. Kanye's been on something different for the past few years. You know what I'm saying? This ain't something new. Kanye's just spazzing out. So we did the episode a couple weeks ago. Deshaun's was breaking down. I don't know where Deshaun's went, but he was breaking down the whole show in Sacktown, Sacramento, and Kanye pretty much just did 3 songs and bounced. Then Kanye canceled the rest of his entire Life of Pablo tour. And then they said the cause of that was depression. He checked himself into a facility. He was not sleeping well, mental health again. And so some people were like, is this actually a situation? Could it be tied in with his mom passing, the anniversary of his mom passing away, Kim in the Paris situation? Could it be also he's going through in the music industry? Or could it just be a cop-out he's using? Because Cudi just used it, he's using it, in the whole insurance situation where if you prove you have mental illness, then he can kind of get out of that money he may owe back to the venues in his contract. So it's kind of like, or it's a little bit of both. We don't really know. So I kind of wanted to break that down in terms of, as fans, how do we deal with that? Like, should we just say, oh, well, this celebrity is going crazy, promoting Trump? You know, I lost hundreds of dollars supporting this guy, but I gotta chalk it up because they're depressed. If I am a rapper and I get dissed by somebody and they say they're depressed, I can't respond back. I can't do anything. It's kind of like if Susan says depressed, it's I can't move. My hands are handcuffed. There's nothing I can say. So I want to kind of go around. Jessica, in the group, how do you feel about the situation in terms of celebrities dealing with mental health and depression? How as fans should we react to support? You know, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, they're humans. I think sometimes we get the misconception that celebrities are not and that they don't go through things. I mean,
Right.
You're in the spotlight 24/7. Like your life is not private. You don't have that time to just be to yourself. You have to put on airs all the time. So,
Right.
I mean, mental health is probably rampant in the entertainment industry. I mean, not only with Kanye, but we see these things like the late Robert Williams. No one realized that he had mental health issues. He ended up taking his life. And then we have even further back, Marilyn Monroe. We have a lot of these celebrities where they've shown us that they've dealt with a lot of depression. So I don't think it's something that is a brand new thing. For Black people, maybe it is because we don't talk about mental health.
He just crazy. Put him in put him in the closet.
Back room. Put him in the back room.
You said like soul food.
You said like soul food. Yes.
Like soul food.
But you know, we don't really see our artists display this type of behavior until maybe their unsung comes out. Then we figure out, they went through some stuff, but it's not really a normal thing, especially in the hip hop industry, because your whole persona is about how tough, how strong, how competitive, how confident you are. And so to see someone break down, it is a little bit of a new phenomenon that we have to deal with, but it's not abnormal. I mean, Kanye West is a person. If we look at his life, he's been through a lot, even before he got famous, not justifying him at all, but even the whole car accident, you know, where he almost died. That probably mentally did something to him. And then his mother passing away all because of the fame that he got. So I guess, and correct me if I'm wrong, she died because she wanted to get liposuction and
some type of surgery and plastic surgery, something like that.
If I'm thinking of it in my way, I'm sorry I'm being long way, I'm gonna wrap it up.
No, go ahead, please.
If I'm thinking about it as a person who has watched their mother support them and be there for them, and you want to do something for her now that you've blown up, and she ends up passing away from this, gosh, I mean, it's like you have everything you've wanted, yet something so dear has been taken from you. So, I mean, it's natural for someone to have a nervous breakdown. But with that all said, the hip hop in me is like, I mean, that's part of the game that you sign up for when you become an entertainer, is that people are going to be in your life and you're going to get this fame. So it's a little bit hard in some sense to excuse it, because you don't want to do that. We do want to address it and acknowledge it, but we also want to say, you know, Kanye talk a lot of shit.
Mark Parker.
You know?
Mark Parker. Oh, you want to know what he do with Kanye West? You want to know what he do with Kanye West? Everybody in Atlanta, go buy a Lucy Tour right now. That's what he did with Kanye West.
Right. So I can see it where people have a little bit hard of sympathizing with him because he comes off so arrogant and so strong. But I mean, like I said, it's not something that we haven't seen before with any of the celebrities. Right. It's just probably new, especially with hip hop. So that's kind of how I think of it.
That's a good breakdown. I'm gonna go to in a second. Deshaunus, you were at the show. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago at the Kanye West show. Now the fact that he's mentioned that it could have been a depression, or not him, a spokesperson, has mentioned this could be a depression situation. Does that like ease your pain? Does that heal your wound a little bit? Like, what does that do for you? Somebody who actually, it was a gift, but you know, still money was spent. You know what I mean? Babysitter, gas, food, all that. Kanye t-shirt, holes in it. No, I'm not laughing. I'm just saying. But how do you feel? How you feel about it? And what's your takeaway?
As a fan, when you grow with the artist, I have less sympathy in a time like this. Only for this reason, you know, like I said, I was someone who, when 808 and Heartbreaks came out, like, man, I think this guy's going through it. I've been sympathetic for years toward, what I could imagine Kanye West, was probably going to, even though I could, don't want to imagine it. So it's been that. But when you talk about someone who chases the spotlight, who chases the attention in a negative manner, so you know, at any point, if he was to cut somebody else some slack, then maybe I'd feel that way. Because when you talk about something like depression, you know, that I, you know, don't feel I personally suffer from, it's not as far as not being able to be in your regular mind state at all. So it's not like every time he's done an interview, every time he's done a track, every time he's done something, he was speaking from a place of depression. When he's going in on Amber, when he's going in on, you know, these folks at the record, when he's going in on people, that is you not cutting anybody else slack for their shortcomings. Right. So when it comes to your shortcomings, I can be prayerful. I can really hope you get through it, which I do. You know, at the end of the day, that's what I hope. But as far as giving you slack for showing up late to shows, doing half shows, at the end of the day, it's a business, right? You know, and so if you really care about people in the product, there is a period of reflection. If you know, correct me if I'm mistaken, but there's a period of reflection. So if I go on a rant on a Monday, you know, and I come to Tuesday or Wednesday or next week and I'm like, man, you know what? Now that I'm not in that volatile state right now, if I reflect and he used those times to say, hey, you know, via Twitter, via press release, look, I was in a bad state last week. I'm sorry for the people at that show. If Kanye ever had periods of reflection, of redemption, and be like, hey, man, last year it was rough. You know, thank you for rocking with the kid.
That's the Ross front.
Man, you know, like I haven't seen that. I've always seen, you know, it was the beginning of the career. I really, you know, I really became a fan of Kanye because the underdog theme. You know, I getting into the car crash. Last Call is one of my favorite tracks. Hearing how the people passing on him, you know, the Capitol, all that. It was a theme. And the second he got on, you know, the second and third album come, it was always I'm above you, and it never let up. He never eased off the gas pedal, even pre-mom. You know, even before the mom passed and depression. So it's kind of hard. Like that's kind of a way of, you know, humbling him and humbling himself. You know, Mr. Jesus, God has a way of humbling you when you exalt yourself above everybody. This maybe be a part of his way coming back down. So those are the reasons. Yeah.
Talib, I want to get your point of this. I think you mentioned in the group about, you know, either you going through a similar depression or knowing people with similar depression. What are your thoughts? Just with Kanye West, since he's the main topic right now. What are your thoughts on his situation and just how fans deal with depression in general?
For me, I mean, like as a person who suffers from it, I kind of have more sensitivity to what he's gone through, but not so much as far as like the entertainer, but as like the person, like I stated earlier. So it's like to see him go through these things. And to see him acting in his manner, most people that don't deal with depression, they see it as him being arrogant or cocky, but someone like me and others like me will see it as a cry for help. So it's like, it puts us in a weird spot because like, yeah, in the normal world, it's like him being arrogant and cocky and lashing out at people. But at the same time, it's just more of like a cover to what, you know, what he's really going through is like underpinning to whatnot. So it's really hard to really bash him. Yeah, because it's like this is really what's going on, and then like all these other things, you know, you don't have time to grieve properly because you know we live in this 24-hour news cycle, so it's like it's really dicey and sketchy. So I don't really want to, you know, bring out the pitchforks for him and stuff like that. I just want to let it play out. So I think that's why I'm really quiet on it.
But you know, it's tough because I'll move to Kanye off of Kanye in a second. It's tough for the Kanye situation. Only because something that Deshaun has mentioned. This behavior predates his mom passing away. Sure. It predates really him being super duper famous. This goes back to like the borderline I'm super confident / arrogant situation. The only thing about it was Kanye was in a position of power.
Exactly.
So he really couldn't say I'm the best of it. He had to kind of get it where he fitted because we have Rockefeller, only cat not wearing do-rags, not wearing jerseys. So you can't really boss up too much because you fade bees will smack you upside the head or something. You know what I'm saying? Camera gonna choke you up. You know what I'm saying? Like you're in a position of power like that. But then it's you look around, you're like, oh crap, I outlasted Beans. I'm bigger than Cam. I'm damn near almost as big as Jay in commercial sense. Yeah. Records and things like that. Oh, so that means I kind of just talk a little bit more. So I feel like it's like it's tough, Tyler, because it's like you don't want to say somebody's crying wolf, but I can see if he's just been this humble, I'm a hardworking guy, You know, I'm Talib. Well, I can't say Talib Kweli. Common. You know, I'm in this common type of cat this whole time. You know, wearing colorful sweaters. Got my you know, my doobie or what's doobie or kufi or I'm chilling. And next thing you know, for 5 months I'm spazzing out. Okay, those 5 months I've been depressed. Then I kind of okay, well he hasn't been acting this way, so be it. Kanye has just went from like level 5 to 6. He's been climbing this arrogance.
Yeah.
I think I could have called this during the Touch the Sky. When Touch the Sky was not gonna call this. Like this was like it's like giving a child all the money, all the candy, all the food, all that they want, and they're spoiled and they're become a spoiled brat. And I feel like that's kind of what Kanye has become. Now, I can get your mom passing away. I haven't had a parent pass away, so I can only imagine what that feels like. His wife, they held up in Paris. I'm real critical of my wife. I can see all those things affecting me. But we cannot just ignore that before the Depression, he was calling out guys like Mark Park and these people from different countries that we don't even know. You're calling out people who can't even rhyme. They can't rhyme. They can't rap. They're behind the scenes with the door closed in the office somewhere, and you're not caring about their families. You're not caring about their friends. You're not caring about embarrassing people because their business still didn't go right. So you want us as the fans to champion you for black people when it's really about you just being a billionaire and you're only a millionaire. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's tough to then say to lean on depression. And then the thing about it is that if you can prove it's depression and mental health, he won't be as liable for the money he has to give back for the venue. So it's like it's wrapped up in the contract. So I'm not gonna rule it out.
Right.
But it's mighty convenient that your boy Cudi was on stage saying he had mental health. Now you're saying it when it's beneficial, and you're canceling, 30-something more shows. It just seems all too convenient for me.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't want to. I want to tell a rebuttal. I don't want to seem like we're being insensitive. I'm being insensitive.
Right.
It's just like it's just hard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a lot to believe. You know what I'm saying? If a kid's known for being a liar, and then he says $5 just went missing out of nowhere, you're gonna probably assume the kid's lying because the kid is been lying a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like if the kid would never lie, he says $5 just got stolen from him, I probably believe it. You know what I'm saying? So Charlie, what is your response?
Well, I was saying, as far as like the whole, his mom passing and him being this way pre-mom.
Yeah.
I've often viewed that as, his mom being a check and balance system almost. You know what I mean? Like she kept him in check and kept him grounded. So basically being his anchor. So when he did veer off to the left, she was like, Kanye, chill, So without that, he's like he's gone to the moon, basically.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to, for me still, it's still hard for me to just like I won't say bash, but just look at him in a certain light because I can for me I can literally see and feel why he's acting that way. So it's just,
and I would say too, like I was gonna say too, people that battle from depression, it's not an overnight thing. Who knows? Kanye could have been battling with depression since before he came out, since early childhood. We don't really know what his life was like. You know what I mean? And so I think it's odd, though, that, let's say Kanye hadn't done all the goofy shit that he's been doing, excuse my language, and he was a fan favorite.
Right.
Still be so, I don't know, this might be convenient. Because let me tell you, Beyonce have a breakdown on stage. I'm crying for her and I'm trying to get her some help because though Beyonce hasn't been doing goofy stuff though.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes our opinion on how sympathetic we are towards people is based on how much we like them. And I think Kanye over the years, he's done a lot of stuff to make people dislike him. So it's very hard for people to sit there and have a sympathetic moment with him. But again, like I said, the thing with mental health is this is not something that he might have dealt with just overnight. This might have been a buildup that we just don't know about. And it's just coming to basically the tea kettle is starting to boil over. And now we're just starting to see it even more. And just because he has billions and he has all this stuff, if you're in denial that you even have a problem, all that fame, all that money, all that attention, that's not going to matter to you because you don't even know that you're having a problem. And that's just dealing with normal people that have, sometimes being a narcissist or a sociopath, you don't, or even suffering depression, you don't even know that you're that way until you are actually seeking help. So I also don't want to discount that it's happening to him. But I can see, like I said, I think if he hadn't have done half of the stuff that he's done over these last few years and he was still that old Kanye, we would be a little bit more sympathetic to him than we are now.
I want to bring up a great point.
Go ahead, Travis.
It's a great point because I haven't even thought of it in the case that he could have been suffering this before we, I've ever heard of Kanye and we've heard of him. That's a great point. So, and Talib, being that, you might be the residential expert on this. I want to say this. When it comes to, I say this, in comparison to like whack lyrics. I'm like, man, as someone who's made a song before in life, right? Like, how did you put that on paper, learn it, put it in the booth, hear it, record it a couple of times, and put that out before you knew it was whack? So I feel that way about Kanye's content. So if he's been struggling with something, if you're making an album, like your message, like Kanye's message is very different in the last 4 albums than it was in the first album. So if a lot of your behavior is a result of something you've been struggling with, then where is the checks and balances? Like, let's say it takes 6 months to make an album. That 6 months, you never had a circle or a person or someone to be like, look, man, this is all you're putting off, in the interviews and the preview. Like, there has never been enough imbalance for me to see another side of Kanye, right? So when people are struggling, we can see it. When it's like, okay, some days we get good Kanye, some days we get bad Kanye. I haven't had enough back and forth for me to be like, oh, I kind of seen, an interview in this period of time where he was kind of in one space and then this time he was in another space. It felt like it's always been after like album 1, that 1.5, he's been in a certain space for a long time. And so it could have been, this waiting to explode before I knew Kanye. But like I said, it just takes a long time to make these albums. It takes a long time to plan these tours. And, and it's like, where is the moment of reflection or the changing gear to be like, this wasn't me at any period of time? So if anybody could kind of talk about.
I want to bring something that up because there's a celebrity who I felt like went through depression, had a great falling point, and then built themselves back up, right? And took that accountability. And I think that's Eminem. If you recall, Eminem was on top of the world, and then, he always talked about stuff, even from Infinite to Slim Shady and stuff with him and his ex Kim and the baby mom and going through that. And then I think it was Proof dying, his best friend. And then he, started popping a lot of pills, a lot of drugs. He talks about a lot in relapse and recovery. So, and that happened. And then he hit rock bottom, almost died from drugs, dealing with depression, put himself back together and became that better person. It's still balanced. It was that accountability. But the thing with Eminem was, and maybe because he was always the white rapper who could really say too much sometimes, even though he dissed everybody. Maybe his position in hip hop where he came off more humble when he wasn't the character that made people feel, oh, and his friend died. And so then Slim Shady, Eminem, he took that accountability to build himself back up. Like, this is my fault. This is how I'm getting myself together, and I'm going to be right. And then ever since then, we haven't had any really major situations coming from Eminem. But then again, as Talib has said in the group, not every person deals with depression the same way. So just because Eminem was able to kind of like have this issue, fall, pick himself back up, and it's good now, doesn't mean that Kanye or somebody else is going to do it the same way. It's just like, but I just don't, it's just kind of hard. Like, where does that accountability come into play? Because I can say, Jessica, oh, but this Jessica, Jessica, I'm going to come and bomb your whole dance sessions and la la la. And then and on Tuesday, like, you know what? I do this on Twitter, I do this on YouTube, I completely humiliate her. You know what I'm saying? And then Tuesday say, you know what? I'm dealing with depression now. So
See,
so if I say something Thursday, you don't even, you can't even clap back. So I'm dealing with depression right now. So anything I say is just, because I want to give you this example. Kid Cudi now, he's been gone for a little bit, wrote a whole letter on Facebook, said he was going through depression, said he was going to a facility, rehab to get himself together. Drake throws a shot at him, right? Because Drake was responding to what Cudi had said to him. Drake was just chilling. Drake, somewhere, some island with some Ethiopian girl, counting money, trying to be Sean Paul like chilling. Give me the lie. Don't pass the Drodo. So Cudi says on Twitter, Drake's been taking my style. So then Drake probably gets in this video, records something.
Which he probably has.
Yeah, probably
Right,
already.
exactly.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Sit on the track, you know.
That's the whole thing.
He wouldn't even diss Cudi. He would just said, you know, you're depressed.
You didn't diss him, no.
Yeah, you got depressed. He could have said something else. You a bum, in word, la la la.
That's it.
But he said you're dealing with depression. Need to handle that, whatever, right? He just kind of addressed it or whatever. Maybe it was in poor taste. The time he was in poor taste, but he put it out. Maybe recorded and mastered it the day before Cudi admission. Who knows? So then Cudi, who's in a facility in rehab, you know, chilling, gets on Twitter, calls him a BAN. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. and goes off. So it's like, so I feel like the Drake's hands like handcuffed. Okay, well, you mentioned me out of nowhere.
Yep.
I just responded to you. I didn't curse at you. I didn't call you a name. I just said you're depressed. You need to handle that, and that's it. You're supposed to be in the facility taking care of yourself. You get on Twitter. You have access to Twitter. I don't know why you have access to Twitter, social media. And he mentions it. Then he recorded something. He mentioned something. So it's like, okay, so then now what's Drake supposed to do? Drake's supposed to just like put your arms behind your back and just keep hitting me, keep knocking me out. I can't defend myself. So it's hard. Like so what do you do? What do you do?
You don't do anything.
No, right.
But yes, he don't do anything. So Drake was but in the beginning, Drake wasn't doing nothing. Drake was chilling. You brought me out, and now it's hard.
It's like this. Like I was mentioning earlier, when things like this happen, like people that understand or go through it, they understand. Like they see it as an episode. So for you to come out and retaliate, that's showing like a lack of concern or lack of care, being dismissive altogether. So that's why I took the issue with, because it's like, don't you see what's going on? Like this is literally a person having a manic breakdown or a manic episode or whatever. So it was just in poor taste. So it's like you say nothing, like you maybe behind closed doors, but you don't bring it out to the public. You know what I mean?
Right. Let me ask you a question, Talib. So is there a time limit to where it's like, okay, you mentioned you said you have a problem. Forever. Exactly. Yeah. You mentioned that you have a problem, right? It's kind of like an alcoholic, right?
Right.
So
no, actually not.
Okay, well, I'm just comparing it. This is something you're going through. This is alcoholic because you be alcoholic because you could be depressed, right? So you could be alcoholic because you're depressed. As soon as you say I have a problem, that's the first step, right? So from there on out, when you publicly state that I have a problem, right? That means you are fully aware that you need to get help. Okay. And so from that point where you acknowledge you have a problem, from there on out, now it's your responsibility. If you got to go to get treatment, if you have to be locked down, for 6-7 months in the facility, therapist, all that, from there on out, you've acknowledged that I have a problem. So after that point, I don't want to say regardless, but if you're depressed, alcoholic, whatever it is, you are now responsible for that. Right. To not hold you responsible because you mentioned that you have an issue and you're still displaying that behavior and not getting the treatment, what do you want me to do? I'm sorry, JC, what are you going to do?
Here's how I felt about it. I feel like this, because we had a discussion of this, and I think, Talib and I, went back and forth, not directly, but my thing is this: if you're going to be uncomfortable with something, and I don't want to be extreme, but we were talking about this, now we're splitting hairs, right? Because don't be listening to Ether, or don't be listening to Super Ugly, and you talk about leaving condoms on the baby seat, and that'll rub you the wrong way. Like the kid ain't had nothing to do with that. But what I'm saying is hip hop has always been personal. You talk about no Vaseline, people call it like it's always been personal. Right. So let's make a comprehensive list of things that we can't talk about. Because when we talk about Tupac talking about sickle cell, we talk about people struggling with drugs or being addicts. There are things people talk about. A prime example is I haven't heard too many people when there are people, but people contesting homophobic slurs and things on the user song. So there's a range of things that are never contested in hip hop, but when somebody broadcasts their struggle or broadcasts what they're going through, their diagnosis, then it's like, now you got to ease off the gas. I'm fine with that. I have no problem with that. But what Walter's asking is like, okay, let's say I'm 21, first album, boom, I broadcast that I suffer with depression or whatever the issue is. For the rest of my career, am I exempt? Can I throw shots? Can I just free for all, just drop diss songs and albums and everybody's supposed to just let it go? Is there a time limit, because everything can be an episode from here on out, and so what I'm saying is, you know, if you're going to do that, part of it is what Walter's saying is you have to take responsibility. Say, man, I'm not in a space to be putting stuff out. And I know that's hard because nobody's going to control your Instagram or Twitter. That's at the click of a thumb, you know, but at the same time, there's a responsibility too. If we're not going to have that relationship, let's not do it. So responding to, you know, Mr. Townsend in the group chat about, you know, was it cheap for J. Cole to talk about Kanye West after he had, I guess, reportedly been in a facility. So, right, you know, so go ahead, Jessica.
Man, I have so many comments.
Jessica was like, oh, she's like, Jessica saw J. Cole talk about Kanye. She's like, oh, get up, son. What are you doing? What happened?
Well, okay, I'm gonna make 3 quick points. So one, when you guys compared Eminem, the difference between Eminem and Kanye West is that Eminem took a break. We didn't see him anymore. So when he was going through his stuff, he had people in his life to tell him to get out of the limelight. Let's get you together. Kanye has not done that. Kanye has constantly been in the limelight, which means to me he doesn't either have the people around him or he doesn't recognize he has a problem. So I think that's really big. A lot of entertainers will take breaks, and I think us as fans, we disservice them by asking for more and more of them when they may be taking breaks because they might be dealing with depression. That's number one. Number two,
real quick, I didn't ask like the last 3 Kanye albums. Just FYI, I didn't ask like the last 3 Kanye albums. That wasn't me, Kanye. I care about you.
There are some crazy Kanye fans, and I mean, even if you. It stands, even if he were to take a break, then they'd be like, oh, he fell off. I mean, even Eminem, look at his career. He's going to be known as the greatest rapper ever. But, I mean, I don't know how he's doing on sales. I don't know how he's doing on tours. He's not in the public eye like he used to be because he took that break. So, I mean, we have to acknowledge that of ourselves, too. We demand a lot out of these people. And when they do take a break, if they want to take to get help, we start talking about they falling off. So, I mean, that's point number one. And then number two, to Deshauna's point about the whole Twitter thing, I think the difference is, and I agree to an extent, I think maybe this would have been better if Kid Cudi and Drake would have had an actual rap battle. They're like a diss song versus Twitter tweets. Because I guess when I see a Twitter tweet of a celebrity, I feel like they're crying out for help. That's a cry out for help moment. Gotcha. When I hear a rap song and they dissing each other, I'm just like, oh, okay, that's just tit for tat. But when I see a Twitter on my personal page, I'm saying something. So I do think Drake was a little cheap for doing that. Right. And I also think, Kid Cudi could have handled it better. But if he's going through an episode, he's not in the right mind state to do that. It's not like he did an album about Drake. He just made some comments about it.
Not yet.
I hope not, please.
And then for the last point, I don't think J. Cole was dissing Kanye. I think he was saying everything that a lot of Kanye West fans, including myself, have been feeling. Like, damn, Kanye, over the years, you came out so strong, so transformative, but people were looking up to you. And then it just went a slow downhill for us. You became very superficial. You started letting the fame get to you more than the music. And you let us down. And I don't think J. Cole was trying to say it as a diss, more that he's just disappointed. However, I will say this. The song, after you hear that this man is in, I think that's a little tacky.
The word tacky is always hilarious to me. I don't care what context.
I think it's a little
The word tacky is just hilarious.
Yes. Well, from my perspective, like, if we're cool, because I'm sure they all know each other, reach out to me by phone. Don't make a whole damn song about me.
So wait, hold on. It wasn't a whole song. It was 16 bars. All right.
Hold on.
On a bus, and then like he did a video and everything for it. Like, come on, man. You had all that time to do that.
But part of my point is like that's what Kanye was doing to all the record labels on Last Call. That's what he was doing to Amber Rose on Fame. You know, like that's what he was doing to Taylor Swift on Famous. Like, where does it stop? Like the stuff he said about Taylor Swift, we could just let her roll off at the concert. Like, she'll deal with it. She's a celebrity. And then he just gives a reflection as a Kanye West fan and probably a friend on where his career is. He didn't go nothing super cheap. He just gives a reflection. It's like, oh, how you gonna do that right now? Like, did you hear what he said about Taylor Swift and Amber Rose? Like, that cut,
but they knew.
But Deshauna, you know what? People will diss you, you know what I'm saying? And they say no shade. Like Sarah Lewis tried to diss me in the chat room. But Sarah Lewis, you're on timeout, okay? Listen, people, you may be new to the show. I'm always loud, okay? It's part of my charm. Okay, get ready to get dark. All right. But I want to talk about the J. Cole situation, and because I feel like when people say beef, it's like everything is beef. Like
everything
is
beef now.
Like while they responded to J. Cole, the second verse about J. Cole talking about he has a friend who raps who's obsessed with getting that recognition from the legends, and people just assumed it was Wale's. Wale has talked about this before. Wale just responded. Didn't diss him. J. Cole didn't diss him. Now people are like, it's a beef. It's a battle. It's like people are so thirsty for people are so thirsty for competition that anytime you address anyone else, it's automatically considered a diss, and it wasn't. I don't think that Drake was dissing Cudi. To be honest with you, I thought it was bad timing that it could be perceived as a diss. But I didn't think he dissed. He could have been like, "You depressed." Yeah, but he could be like, "You depressed is why your album sucks." I'm like, he could have really, he could have really studied on him. And he didn't. Drake could have said a lot of things that could have been true that would have been tacky.
And he's pretty good at that.
See, look, but you know what? It's like this.
It wasn't the Meek Mill, your girl too. It wasn't that. It wasn't that.
It doesn't have to be though. Like say if you punch somebody or stab somebody, you're still injuring them. So it doesn't. Doesn't really matter.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, Tyler. Let's say I'm walking out the grocery store. Right, I'm walking out the grocery store. I'm eating a bag of pork rinds or whatever. I'm chilling. Right.
That was the first mistake.
Right. By the way, my scenarios are so random, like I was drinking a Slurpee at Disneyland. Like I just thought I'm weird, but I'm trying to add entertainment value. So I'm walking out of the grocery store. Somebody comes and smacks the hell out of me. Right. Smacks the hell out of me. I try to hit them back. And they tell me, "Yo, I'm sorry, my bad, fam. I'm depressed right now. I just go around slapping people because that just lets I get my aggression out from slapping people." How would you handle it?
Well, first, honestly, that would literally never happen. I'm not trying to hypothetically or otherwise. It just wouldn't happen. Like people react in that manner, but not to that extreme.
But I'm saying,
I can't answer that question.
I'm using a far left example to tell them where. Just follow me. This is Alice in Wonderland. Follow me through this maze. So, right?
Can I say something?
Somebody come do slaps my snapback off, which is hard because I got a big head. Slaps my hat off. Right. What? And then they say I'm depressed. What happens after that? What do you do?
It can go either way. Like honestly, if you feel like you're threatened, you can defend yourself. But if someone slaps you and they say that, I can't really picture that happening. So it's really hard to speak on. Honestly.
Okay. I'm gonna give you another real life scenario.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Let's say for example, Wale. Wale has been known to go on Twitter and against people, whatever. Let's say Wale. I don't know. I'm trying to think of this. I'm just trying to get to the point of like, where's the line being crossed? Where's the line being crossed?
Okay, wait. Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead, Shante. And I'm not country, Shante. I'm
no. Let's say Amber Rose made a diss track about Kanye West right now. Is that too far?
That would be terrible. That'd probably be terrible.
Let me tell you why it's terrible. Number one, she's not a rapper. I don't want to hear anything musically from Amber Rose.
Yeah,
that's why it would be terrible.
The video will be fire. The video will be fire.
She can't do no.
We ain't gonna hear. We hit mute.
Nah.
But see, you know what? I think
I'm not saying would it be good, but I'm saying is that out of pocket for her considering all that he said about her? Like something in that realm for what he said about her on Wax. Would it be out of pocket for her to say something about him on Wax?
Yeah,
I mean, at the current moment, it would be.
I guess it'll be now. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Amber Rose has
that would be. So I feel like
back already on him. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but this is before he announced that he's depressed. Now that he's mentioned he's depressed, now it's like this force field. It's like it's impenetrable. Right. Like I can't do anything, and I'm like,
I don't. Yeah.
But this is my problem with that. And I get what Tyler's coming from. I'm not trying to attack, but I personally get it. You don't want to trigger someone if you know they're going through a mental situation. Mm-hmm. My issue with that is once people see that working. Kind of like the whole thing about back then with the Twitter thing. Oh, somebody hacked my Twitter. I didn't mean to tweet that. Havoc did the same thing. Where Havoc went off from Prodigy and called him gay, and he was getting something in the jail room. I don't want to repeat it because it's kind of vulgar. Twitter was hacked. And then 2 years later, it said that it wasn't because during that time, Chris Brown said the same thing, and all these people. So if we do that now, every celebrity's gonna say, you know what, I canceled that show because I was depressed.
Yeah, but see,
you know, so it's like once that goes too far, now it's like everybody's gonna use this excuse, and now we have to abide by that. If we don't hold Kanye responsible, then nobody gets held responsible. Everybody can do what they want.
I feel like the major issue is that the word and the term depression is such a blanket statement now that people feel empowered to use it. So people that are actually suffering from it, you know, we feel like we're like in a corner somewhere. You know, so it's really like mental health is in a bad position right now, like across the board.
Yeah.
So we have to figure out how to break that mold and not allow people to just use it as a scapegoat for everything. I think that's what we have to start.
Yeah, and I think you can't deny that it's not real. Like, I mean, I hear what you're saying, Walter, but I mean, is that really any of our concerns on who is really using the excuse and not? Because at the end of the day, it's going to silence a whole population of people who are suffering from depression. Sure. Just like Talib said. I mean, and in the industry, come on now, I'm sure everyone has some type of mild to severe depression.
You know,
at this point in the game, I'm not even. Exactly. That's how they cope. And I'm not even going to sit here and say that I predicted that Kanye West, but I think us as fans, sometimes we put too much into them to where our expectations are unrealistic. And I mean, like I said, if Beyonce were to get on stage and say, girl, I'm having a breakdown, I'd have to be like, you know what, girl, that's okay. Come back when you're ready. But I think sometimes as fans, we just ask for too much out of people. We ask for too much out of people in general. And then, with mental health.
So can I?
Let me say something real quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to answer a question. It's tough because I completely get your point. If we say now this doesn't matter, you're right. It's going to silence people. It's kind of like when a woman says she's raped, right?
Yes.
And if you just automatically dismissive, the other women who've been raped are not going to want to come out, right?
Exactly.
But then there's that fine line of women who have lied about being raped, and men are serving time behind bars right now, and they didn't do anything.
Sure. So but that's a small percentage.
Well, I don't really know the statistics for that. I do know that there's a large amount of women who have been raped like for real. And there's some women who have lied because they've been scorned. And it's unfortunate that those women are making it bad for the women who went through it, right? And that's why I don't want it to happen. Because that's why I don't want it to happen. So it's kind of like I'm for you if you're acknowledging it, because it takes a lot of strength to acknowledge that you have mental health. By the way, Kanye West has not done that yet. A spokesperson has. Right. So I'm just going off of what the spokesperson of a spokesperson said. Kid Cudi came out on his Facebook and said that.
And said it.
We have yet to see Kanye. Eminem has admitted it. Everybody, for the most part, celebrities who we know have had depression issues, they've admitted it besides Kanye.
So can I punch it right there?
And Kanye's been super transparent about everything else. So I'm surprised he wouldn't be about this. Go ahead, Deshaun.
That is the part of the conclusion I've come to, is that a fan and an artist has a relationship, right? So we don't want to admit it. We like to detach sometimes and say they don't owe you nothing, you don't owe them nothing. That's true. But once this becomes their living and they've become kind of divulge their life to you and you kind of supported them, there's some sort of relationship there, right? And so if you're not exposing anything to me, I can't be accountable and reliable for being sympathetic to you, right? So Eminem, once he begins to pen and open his life up about it, you can be sympathetic about his road and his journey and say, okay, certain things about Eminem I can kind of make fun of and hold him accountable. Certain things Eminem is struggling with and stuff, right? Every artist kind of has that. And so it's part of the artist's responsibility to say, look, this is what I'm giving to you. So if you only show me this and you're struggling inside and you don't want to divulge that and you don't want to open that up, then that's kind of part of what you chose to be. I can't dig deep and say, because at that point, we can give that blanket to anyone and say, you know what, I don't like this about this artist, but I'm going to assume. So until an artist like Kanye West says in any song or any matter in press conference, this is what I'm struggling with, or I'm dealing with this, I can't just interpret that for them. So yes, artists who state it and own it, and I know it's tough to do, I have their responsibility, but I can't just accept that and take that responsibility because you've held that part of the relationship, right? So if Jessica and I are friends and her and I always laugh and joke, and it really cuts me up when she jokes, makes jokes about XYZ, I can't expect her to just stop doing that and just assume maybe he doesn't like that until I say, look, Jessica, I'm struggling with this. I don't like it. Stop doing it. Right?
That's
You know what?
You
You know what? Check this out. Like to take it another direction, kind of.
Sure.
You see how you made the comparison between sexual abuse and rape and all that and mental health.
Yeah.
Like you'd be hard pressed to find rappers discuss that so willy-nilly and freely in their music.
Right.
Why? Because it's taboo.
Sure.
Right. So why is it so easy for people to make that same or to make those same amount of lyrics about mental health? You know what I mean? Like it's
That's
really
right.
to me they're on the same length. Like they're on the same wavelength and whatnot. So and I think if you're not gonna talk about one, you can't talk about the other. Like they're not mutually exclusive. So you have to really in my opinion, just take it out of hip hop regardless. Just take it out of that entire realm. Like it's a sport, we love competition, but certain things just literally don't need to be talked about.
Yep.
Yeah. I want to move on to I think Kalani. Is it Kalani or Kalani?
I think it's Kalani.
Kalani. I never said her name.
Kalani.
Yeah. See, I don't know. Potato. I don't know. But, I don't know. It's kind of like that whole gigantic icon.
It's somebody's name. It's not either or. It's one name. You stick to it. You can't potato. What are you talking about?
Kalakalan. I don't know.
Kaylani, man. Kaylani.
That's hilarious.
I don't know. Please forgive me. This song she had is dope. I forgot the name of that too.
Crazy.
There we go. Yeah, everything's crazy. So she had an issue. I think it was the Party Next Door. The Party Next Door.
Yeah.
And what?
Kyle Irving.
Yeah, Kyle Irving. And she had
Kyrie.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. I don't know names. Yeah, I don't do names. I'm just telling you.
The rest of this episode will be typed out so that we can spell check.
Yeah, because I don't do names well.
So anyway, y'all know who we talking about. You know, the talented girl that was singing. So anyway, she had an issue, whatever. I think Party Next Door, something like that. And then one of the guys got mad. She ended up deleting all the photos off of her Instagram. And then she then the next day it was like she was for suicide watch. She tried to commit suicide. She was in the hospital. And so I think she was dating somebody, but she was dating the other person. The other person found out. So I guess she may have been cheating.
Sure.
I don't know. The whole situation. And so people was like, she's using the whole suicide thing as an out. For me, I'm like, listen, that's kind of extreme to use as an out. I don't think she's like playing around. I think maybe she was going through some things already. And the whole people in Instagram, how things go, oh, you're cheating, you're a cheater. And then they just kind of like bombard your Instagram and social media. And then you kind of feel like locked in the corner. And maybe that was kind of her result. Like, man, I can't take this. So she had a situation. So it's just tough, man. It's just like, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't want to make this just about the music industry. It says celebrity depression. I feel like in general, how we deal with depression in the Black community needs to be discussed.
Absolutely.
Right?
I
think we've been so big on our community being so strong-willed and fighting, other races.
And resilient.
Being resilient and civil rights, those things that we pushed basic human issues to the side. Like we're trying to vote. We're trying to get shot out by the police. I can't even talk to you about being depressed right now because we're all depressed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then something to tell us in the group that hit home too. A lot of us don't know the definition of depression.
Nope.
Right.
Because we use it so freely. Oh, it's raining outside. I'm depressed. Oh, the Raiders lost the game last night. I'm depressed. You know what I'm saying? We use that term so freely that we don't know the distinction between someone who's like mentally depressed, like they don't want to get out of bed that morning. Like, you know what I'm saying? They want to kill themselves. They don't see any reason for living. So you're just down right now. Like, you'll be good in 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know the distinction between that.
That's the thing with this depression is, though, you can be a high functional person and still be depressed. Absolutely. It's not always about being in the bed, being suicidal. It could be, you could be going to work 40 hours a week, normal life, social life, all that stuff, and still have depression. And I think that's the problem with our society is that, like Talib said, we don't know how to define it. We think that it looks a certain way, and it doesn't. There's plenty of people, I mean, who I've looked at as just very highly functioning that have dealt with a lot of mental health issues that I would never know about unless we had a conversation and talked about it. And so I think our society sometimes can be a little bit cold at it. And again, we have this misperception of what mental health and depression looks like. and it's not always what we think it is, you know. So I think we have to be a little bit more open-minded to what things look like. And you know, it's funny how we're talking about Kanye, but I know y'all can't stand Azealia Banks, and I know that woman is going through some type of mental health issue.
Fire though. If you listen to 212 and some of those joints, some of her joints is fire, man. Y'all need to give her a chance.
I'll be buying in a little bit.
It be little John Blaze. Yes, can handle some business deals.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. And I think that's so true. And I think part of where that comes from is, you know, Black folks' history, particularly in America, was bent on, look, we don't have time to be down. We don't have time to have sorrow. We don't have time to lick our wounds. We need to survive, right? And so we're kind of always lean to that as part of our strength. But now we also have to balance that and say, look, you know, there are folks, you know, our children, you know, teen, preteen, you know, everybody, you know, young adults that are dealing with a range of issues that need to get help, you know, and it's just a lot of old mantras, you know, that have helped get us through certain situations that aren't, you know, the best. It's not helpful in every situation. You know, that comes from relationships to personal, to everything. So
exactly. I want to address something too. Morgan, you're asking me about. Morgan said this is off topic, but can y'all do a video discussing your favorite one-hit wonders?
Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding?
As we're talking about mental health, this is what she's thinking about.
Morgan, this is the problem, Morgan. How you doing, Morgan?
Right.
This is the problem. We're talking about mental health here. You asked me about one-hit wonders, okay?
What
do you want me to do? Okay, what do you want me to do? I'm sorry. I do want to say something too. Jessica mentioned earlier, I forgot to mention. She mentioned about fans wanting too much from celebrities. Sometimes to be asked too much, right? And I always have a conflict with this, being a industry person to being a fan. It's always this thing of like, I get it, right? We want artists to be perfect. We want them to be role models. We want every song, every verse to be classic, right? We want you to have all these things. But then on the flip side, it's like, well, we are paying these people. We are making them millionaires. They are making songs that are dissing people of less financial status, which is 90% of their audience. We are affording them a lifestyle to where their kids are going to private school. Some of our kids, you know, they gotta, you know, they need a security escort to get into their school. Like, so it's different. It's like we're paying you for it. And I feel like sometimes the celebrities, depressed or not depressed, I'm just talking in general. Sometimes the celebrities forget that. And they forget that we make them who they are. Once the cameras stop, you know, once we stop asking them for pictures, once we stop atting them, once we stop buying their albums, they're not relevant. We make them relevant. Like, there's way more of us than there are of them. And even as an industry label person, I still tell people that. I tell people all the time that fans have the power. My biggest issue is when people say that it's a secret society or the powers that be and all these things, when really you're talking about us. We're the powers that be. There's no secret society in the world that's going to back somebody who doesn't sell. So once they stop selling, I don't care how many triangles are in their video. Once you stop buying their record, they won't be relevant. So that ends every theory that you could possibly have.
Can I add this to that too?
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I want to add this to that too. When you talk about fans, you know, that expect a lot, I feel like most of the time, fans expect a lot of people who project that, right? So you talk about the most artists who have the critique, right? You know, we talk about in the group chat, you know, Jay-Z calling himself Hov, I'm the god of rap, I'm the best. So then, yes, people expect a lot, right? Kanye West, Jesus. Then, yes, we expect a lot, right? Beyonce, you know, talking about bow down, you know, snitches, like they come with a very high swagger. I don't see people at Lupe Fiasco's door. Lupe, you didn't do, like, when artists usually, like, when they're content.
Yeah, they did.
And that's because Lupe get busy on Twitter too. Don't think I don't see you, Lou. Shout out, Lou.
Yeah, and he'll tell you about yourself at his
he'll tell
you. First to 15.
Exactly. So there's a balance.
Free chili.
I'm paid. I'm the best. My albums are dope. I'm better than you. I got money.
I'm the biggest boss that you've heard thus far.
I'm the biggest. All this stuff that I got from the fans, and it's like, what do you want from me? I'm trying. Like, nah, don't try. What you want? Nah,
well,
don't try.
Exactly.
Let me say this though.
Right?
Don't you guys think that musicians and they are the biggest psychologists ever? And here's why. Go with me on this. Their music is, and their persona, their image is made to attack our emotions and our feelings. So people who love Mary J. Blige when she was down, they related to that album because she was giving them something to relate to that they were going through themselves, like a psychologist, almost like a therapist. And so people rely heavily on music to get them through their ups and their downs. When someone gets their heart broken, they look at listening to Adele. When somebody want to feel like a boss or feel confident, they listening to Jay-Z and Beyonce, myself personally. Or if someone wants to get into that good rocker mood, they're listening to whatever. Music is therapy for a lot of people. And so when I say that, I just think that as a fan, we can be some of the worst critics ever. I mean, I've seen artists whose careers have completely because of how critical we can be. I mean, we talk about Carrie Hilson. She said something about Beyonce, and I ain't seen a record from her since.
And we all love Carrie. We all love Carrie. Carrie's a fan of the show. She's a fan of the show.
Right. Or you talk about Kalani. You talk about Kalani. This woman had her own personal business put on Instagram, which happens all the time. And now she's being attacked, called out her name by other celebrities, Chris Brown included, and other fans who don't know.
Trash anyway, though. Whatever.
And all of a sudden now she's thinking about ending her life, which happens a lot, and whether she used it for a gimmick or whether it was real. My point is that, yes, we do make these artists, but we can bring them down very quickly. This is and they should go off on them.
And they should remember that. This is what I want to say. If we've seen a history, I'm just being honest. If we've seen a history of artists who are depressed, not in the mental sense, but just in general, depressed, down, fell off because of fans and backlash. We've seen that already. And you decide to become an artist, you kind of know what's going to happen. So either you say, I want to sing, but I'm not ready for that level of pressure.
It's fame.
I'm not ready for that level of criticism. Let me get out the game. Or you're going to say, you know what, man, I still want to rock with it. I'm different. I'm me. What's up? So you get in the game. When you get in the game, you gotta play. Yeah. So if you get in the game, you gotta play. And you get tackled, you can't get mad. You got tackled. You're on the field. Like, you're supposed to hit touchdowns. Yeah. If you don't hit touchdowns, if you don't hit touchdowns, you get pulled out the game. When you're trying to make touchdowns, you're gonna get tackled. So you're an athlete. You're a player. So that's just how it is. So it's like, I'm not saying they should get beat up. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that this isn't new. This is entertainment. Yeah. If you feel that you can't handle it,
but we all ask for blessings that we're not ready for, right?
And we learn what's for us and what's not for us.
Sure.
So then you're either gonna say, I'm gonna get out the game, or I'm going to prove all of my haters wrong, which you'll never be able to do. You're never gonna be able to. Sorry, folks. Sorry, folks. I don't care how many compliments you have. You will always have a hater because they're not happy with their lives. They'll never be.
Sure.
What you do isn't a level of what you do doesn't affect their hate. They won't be happy until they achieve their own success. Right. I'm just saying that you kind of know what the game is. Kanye was on the Breakfast Club. Charlamagne told him, he was like, Kanye, you saying you're a slave? You could work at Walmart. You could get out the game. You're continually putting yourself in the game to get tackled.
Yeah, exactly.
You want me to feel bad for you that you get tackled, yet you're on the field and you're bragging when you're on the field. So it's like, what do you want me to do here?
Go ahead, Tyler.
I mean, as far as Kanye goes, like, that's just speaking to who he is as a person, like his duality and whatnot. So like, of course, you on one end of the spectrum, he may want to be on the field and be braggadocious and boastful. But on the other side, he could very well just be insecure and not want to do these things, and he's forced to do it because of the pressure that's put on him by the fame and industry and the critics and all that. So you gotta not do that. You know what I'm saying? Just leave him alone. Just let him be. He'll be all right.
Kanye's a narcissist. He's a narcissist. But
you know what? On that too. I mean, aside from leaving him alone, but you got to realize too that a lot of these things, aside from mental depression, you have like mood disorders and personality disorders too.
Yes.
That also causes these outbursts that normal people won't understand. So they'll just say, "Oh, he's tripping, he's crazy," and they'll just write him off. But a lot of that stuff is really real.
Right.
I agree with Talib, and I want to compare it to this. So if a person struggles with weight and overeating, you know, and then they accept the job working at, you know, a eatery or, you know, a restaurant, you know, Chipotle, whatever like that, right?
Okay.
So at that point, you know, does that person say, all right, listen, you shouldn't fire me for this, but I can't come to work the next month because I need to get my life right. You know, so part of that, what I'm saying is like, if being in the spotlight adds to whatever issues you have, okay, let's say I dropped album number 2 and I didn't do well trying to tour this and this and that. I need to get some help, right? At a point, it doesn't matter what kind of pressures I have. If it's not good for me, then I need to not work at that job. I can't just say, oh, well, because entertainment is.
How they got him.
And I don't mind if you take it off, but that's still your job. Or if not, and when you can't do it, take whatever money you made, you know, and do like that. And we're like, we may kill, you know, Lauryn Hill and talk smack about her. That's not because of her personally. It's only because of how people put her in the game, you know. So it's like, yeah, you still can't be the best ever if you're not putting out product, but whatever works for your spirit and your health, do that. But then when she gets into the game and say, pay money for my show, and you show up 2 hours late, yes, I'm killing you again because it's work. At that point, it's work, because if it wasn't work, you wouldn't charge me. You charge me for the show. You didn't just release an album on YouTube or release a mixtape and say, here is it for free. Go ahead, world. This is what I can do right now. I don't want the fame. I can't handle shows. Every time you get time for you to get popping, you want the money for the tickets. You want to get the venue. And then you want to be like, oh, I'm not in a state to do this. I need space. Like, well, then you can't perform your job. Don't do that job. Redefine your role.
Okay.
Well, see, the thing is,
you know, I want to rebut there's 3 things. It's just something that Jessica Williams said in the chat as well. There's a few things we have to talk about. Number 1, I totally agree with that. Once you charge somebody for something, it's not their job, right? I mean, it is what it is. When Jessica mentioned something in the chat that was really interesting, she said something about how fans don't just talk about people's music. I think fans go too hard and start criticizing an artist's life that they have no business in knowing. And I agree with that. The problem with that statement is that we don't know their personal life until they tell us. So if we didn't know, well, yes, sometimes, but typically, if we didn't know, we wouldn't like, there would be nothing to say. Like if there's something that I don't want you to know, if I'm in the hospital and I don't post a picture of me in the hospital, there's no possible way to know I'm in the hospital. Like, I mean, it's just, unless you have to do a lot of digging, but it's just.
But that's the industry, though. That's what the industry asked for.
Yes and no, because
especially now.
Well, no, this is my problem. This is my main problem with the music industry, and I'm in it. The reason why I have an issue with this is because the artists only tell it from a perspective of either if they win, it's all me. I'm a genius. I'm a god. I am the next Mozart. When something bad happens, it's the label didn't promote my record. The label didn't ship. So either the labels have power or they don't. I've seen labels pay people's child support payments.
Dang.
I've been embarrassed to be in meetings.
Tell us.
I've been embarrassed to be in meetings, being the only Black person in the meeting, having to give an explanation of whatever rapper. I have to be the resident, you know, oh, this person's this, and they're little this, and they're young that. Oh, okay, well, we can't pay them directly. We have to pay their child support. They're gonna be locked up. Artists don't say that, though. When artists, we're gonna get foreclosed. Hold on. When artists, listen, it's more than one. When artists are gonna get foreclosed on their house. Hold up. When artists are getting foreclosed on their house, or when cars get taken care of, they come to the labels. I need an advance. I know my last album didn't sell. The single you put out for me 2 weeks ago was bombing. However, I need a $5,000-$6,000 advance. The label is cutting people checks off of faith. I have seen this happen. The artists say nothing. As soon as the artist assumes that the label shipped 100 units less, when they assume that something that was in the contract they didn't know, when it was definitely in their contract, they run to the source, they run to Vibe, they run to a blog, and now it's the industry is shady. And all the audience, and the thing is, the labels, the people, these executives, they go home to families, they're not being interviewed. The artists are the spokesperson. So the artists have a direct connection with their fans. So anything the artist says, the fans are gonna go with, especially if it's juicy, right? But they never say, oh, that same RCA bailed me out of my child support payments, or they stopped me from going to jail, or they bailed me out of this situation, or I'm in a house that's being rented by Universal Music Group because I'm not making enough money with my album sales because the fans that I'm complaining to are buying enough of my records. So the label is funding me on money that I haven't even made yet. I'm in debt. I'm in debt because I spent money blowing it on jewelry when I could have paid for the current situation I'm in right now. But see, those stories, and I can't really speak on the specifics, never make it to press because it puts the artist in negative light. The artist is supposed to appear as a superhero. So if a superhero looks weak, they aren't a superhero. They appear to be just like us. And as an artist, the artist's job is to sell you a dream that you believe in. He's the biggest trapper. He's the biggest boss. He's the biggest CEO/rapper without knowing their faults, right? So that's all that, and then we play into it. So that's the cycle. The labels do shady things. The business is business. But I've seen more positive things happen that we swept under the rug. And as soon as something accidentally leaks, the industry's against me. It's shady business. At this record label, I won out. But fam, they just paid like your child support for the past 2 years. They're paying for your grandma's rent. They're paying for this stuff. So it's like, but you don't see that. You don't see that in the magazine because it's embarrassing. And the executives don't have the platform to speak out because nobody wants to hear from Tom Wilson in accounting. They want to hear They want to hear from Little Europe or young Boat Mob. They don't want to hear from Jeffrey in finance. So that's my point. So when we say the fans expect too much, I agree, but only because of the information that you guys have been given. If you were given the entire scope of it, you realize you weren't asking for that much. People want good music, and they don't want to feel like they're wasting their money. That's all they want. We want.
We'll change the narrative.
And that's it. But it's hard to change the narrative when the people who are in those platforms don't change the narrative. If Jay-Z says F whatever label, you guys are gonna rock with it. The label can say whatever. Oh, that's a shady. That's just a shady guy in a suit. He doesn't know. He doesn't know the culture. The culture vulture. He's a culture vulture. He doesn't know what he's talking about, right? He doesn't know what he's talking about. Trust the artist who you had a special connection with since you were in middle school. You're gonna believe Usher over some A&R you never met before because Usher, right? Because Usher made Nice and Slow. You know, Beyonce.
Even though he didn't write it.
Right, so he didn't write it. You have an emotional connection to the artist. So what was read to Kanye? So me, when I'm listening to Kanye, with my knowledge, I know. Factual, not opinion. I know that 80% of what he's saying is complete BS that I can literally prove factually, even though I can't, publicly. But I can prove that makes absolutely no sense. But because he's Kanye, and way more money than I am, has made songs that's connected with you, it's automatically real-ish. It's automatically he's exposing the industry, or they're shutting him up because he's speaking the truth, when none of it is the truth at all. So that's my issue with it. So if he has a mental health issue, that's one thing. But what he's actually saying is not true. So maybe the depression part is the one real thing he's saying, that he hasn't said. Someone else say for him. But I'll give you one example. I'm gonna move on. Someone to rant. He mentioned the issue of Drake for free in the radio and playing industry politics, right? He's saying that Khaled is, so basically he's accusing DJ Khaled and Drake of monopolizing radio for Drake, right? This is the problem. Radio is used to promote records. Right. Statistics-wise, the more space you get on radio, the more records you should sell. You should sell because that's more exposure, right? He said Frank Ocean's a dope artist too, right? Frank Ocean did over 300,000 units this year. Frank Ocean is one of the biggest selling records of this year. He sold almost twice as much as DJ Khaled with less the radio play. Right. Frank Ocean had his entire album paid for by a record company, then used the second album that they paid for the samples, and he sold it independently the next day. That was probably the biggest political play of the year. He had the label clear samples for him, do all this promotion, and then the same album they paid for, he gave him a visual album that you couldn't sell. Then the album you could sell, he sold it independently. Yep. That's industry politics. And Frank Ocean still sold twice as much as DJ Khaled did with less of the radio play. So what is the argument? The argument is Drake Ocean's fans bought the record. It was one of the highest selling records of this year. He didn't need radio play. Yeah. So that's the statistics. Those are things I can clip the billboard. I can clip the sound scan chart, post in the group, and you can see it. So that was a lie. But because Kanye West said it, and Kanye West made Through the Wire when you were in 9th grade and you cried, you believe him. That's the problem. Because I don't feel all the information I'm saying, I'm not expecting people to know. That's the point. Nobody should know any of it. They should make good music, entertain fans, and go home to your house in Calabasas with Kim and your swimming pool and all your cars and all the stuff that you're doing. Because when you give people a little bit of information, you're not giving the whole truth. You are distorting a reality. And people don't know what to believe. And because he's the only person spewing a whole bunch of nonsense, you believe it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. So people create secret society theories and conspiracy theories and all this other crap that means nothing because it's all fantastic and it sounds good. And fans don't know what to believe when they should really be listening to the music. But the artists put you in a bad situation. The artists don't want you to do that. The artists want to pander to you to feel sorry for them when they make wrong decisions.
Well, if you think about it, you know, Kanye is a regular dude like us. You're just defending the industry because you're in it. So of course you get paid. The industry pays you. So you make up all this crazy stuff about Kanye having crazy stuff, Walter, because you want to protect the industry. Kanye is who you should believe.
Right.
Kanye is for the people.
Right. Exactly.
Kanye for the people. Stop trying to get us to believe your side. Kanye is the man.
My bad.
All that
and just tell us which
so.
rapper needed their child support paid.
It's been man. It's been embarrassing. I've seen the royalty checks of like, man, this person. Like I've seen CEOs really put their jobs on the line to protect artists, and I've seen that more happen. Even my position in the industry was created for me to help songwriters know, you know, that they're getting paid correctly, that their songs are being pitched to different societies. I'm their advocate. Like if something happens to them, if they're getting shorted by a TV network or shorted by radio, like they gotta hear from me and my people. So like these industries are created to help artists. But that's not what gets pitched to out there. It gets pitched that the industry is shady and they're raping all your money and they only sign artists that are negative. No, they sign artists that fans get into. So if you, so if we all decide, if there's 1 million people that decide that Trinidad James is that it, he gets $1 million contract.
So what?
That's how that works. There's no hocus pocus. It's like it's black and white.
Why you're in rant mode? Let me ask you this question directly,
Please.
Mr. BMOC. When you talk about all the different documentaries, right? All the different movies about the older model, right? You talk about Cadillac Records. You can talk about all these different movies that show how old contracts were written, how it was started as a business. Primarily, like any business, is the people at the top want to eventually clear money and the bottom line.
Absolutely.
So where have you seen a shift? Because you just made a statement about, you know, it still being an infrastructure to support the artists and the fans having vote. Was there a shift at some point that you could point to and say, as much as it may have started and been an older model, it's since evolved some in places to not be so top heavy?
Yeah.
I will say this. I feel like I don't think there was a shift to where it was like it was all grimy from the 40s to the 70s and then things got positive.
Okay, great. 40s to 70s grimy.
I think there's always been good people and bad people. At Bank of America, there's good executives, there's bad executives. At VH1, there's good people and bad people. It's always been that. The problem is the stories are more entertaining when you talk about the bad people.
Right.
Cadillac Records wasn't the only record company at that time, and not everybody in that movie was people. The same thing with Motown and Barry Gordy being for artists and being supportive. And those movies get told. So it's always like you're going to highlight the negative. It could be think about your day. There could be 10 people like, yo, Deshaun, I like that hat you got on, like that jacket you got on. That one person will say, oh man, I don't like your sneakers. That's gonna stick out to you the most. So the negative things stick. Business is shady in general.
Yeah.
But there's good people, there's bad people. There's good CEOs that I've met that are in tune with the artists. There's CEOs that I know now that have no idea the artists are being signed to them. So when people say, oh, it's a conspiracy theory from the top, I'm like, well, that CEO doesn't even know the person they signed yesterday. So there was what meeting he went to get that person signed. He doesn't even know who that person was signed to. He knows he been signed to him. I've seen CEOs chase after artists that didn't know that they already had signed them. This is my issue, and I sometimes wish I could just take people in like a tour, a tour around the record label. They can see what it is because it's more transparent and it's more black and white than people make it seem. Even with those old documentaries and those movies, again, when there's an arc, when there's conflict, you know, Love and Hip Hop, all those things, you're not gonna have a Love and Hip Hop show where there's 8 positive couples, you know, going to Central Park, you know, recycling, who are vegan, going to church every day. No, And there's millions of people that do that. There's not a shift. It's just, I'm going to pick the most entertaining part of it. And if that's the conflict, if that's the negativity, that's what I'm going to highlight. That's what sells records. That's it.
Yeah. So just to wrap it, to bring that back to our topic. So
please go ahead.
Just everything that you talked about, you highlighting the record industry and how, you know, people are getting their child support paid and all of these things paid off. T.I. And just
not T.I. I didn't say that. See, I don't need no help. Trust me.
You take all those components of this industry, right? To it, who has these problems prior to getting into this industry. So you have someone who has issues with child support or comes from a very poverty-stricken environment or doesn't have any type of role model. You have all these things. You have someone who comes in even too with some post-traumatic stress disorder, and you bring them into this industry that demands so much of them, that has to do things like pay off their bills, pay their child support, get them out of jail. All of these things.
My mom got surgery. I need in a scope
right. My mom got
$5,000.
Whatever. I'm the burden warrior of my family. So me making it big and making it. And Lupe has a perfect song about this. Hip hop saved my life. You have someone who has coming from this environment now into this industry, and their focus is to make money to take care of their people. And if they don't have the proper health resources that they need in the community that they come from already, they are going to have that they haven't dealt with heightened. It's going to skyrocket because you're just overly stimulated with trying to survive in this industry and trying to make sure that your records sell so that you can pay back this label who just paid off your baby mamas or just paid off your child support or got you out of jail or whatever. Now you're having all this heightened stress onto you, of course, and on top of that, now you have the fans demanding more. Now you got to go on tour. You got to make albums. You got this entourage. You got all of this stuff to take care of. How do you not have a mental breakdown?
Which forces you to make music that you may not want to make because you want to appeal to an audience that's going to sell.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or the pressure that you have on you. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to talk about the record labels or the fans, but it's just you as an artist, who most of our artists that we have, they may come from good homes, but sometimes they don't. Or if they do come from good homes, maybe they've had a lot of pressures putting on them to be this type of star, Beyonce. And so, of course, you're going to enter an industry and you're going to have someone that may suffer from depression or these different mental illnesses that they haven't dealt with. So because of all of the things that you have to deal with. And that's why I'm saying sometimes as fans, I don't think we professionals, they have to give us customer service. They need to perform. They need to do their jobs. But I think sometimes we are very naive into thinking the type of pressure that a person can go under in any type of capacity. Whether you're a musician, whether you're a celebrity, whether you're the president of the United States, sometimes we are very critical of things we do not know about. And I think that's what maybe.
I agree.
That's what maybe me and Talib are trying to say is just not. And I think you guys are saying this too. It's not so. It's not so black and white all the time when it comes to dealing with the human experience. There's a lot of gray area, and there's a lot of things that people are dealing with that they don't know how to cope. Maybe Kanye wasn't taught good temperament strategies on how to cope with stress and pressure. Maybe his whole life has been about being sheltered and a little bit naive and being told that he's just the greatest. Like, I think he's narcissistic. And I think a lot of people in the industry are. And so when you deal with that, and you don't have those types of coping mechanisms to help you overcome life. And I think sometimes as fans, we need to be not making them not accountable because they signed up for this, but we need to just be understanding and maybe take them off a pedestal so much. Like, just make the music that I can dance to, but you are not the set standard of how life should be. And I shouldn't be so involved in you. And maybe we wouldn't be so disappointed as consumers when they don't perform or their album sucks or they have breakdowns on stages because we're like, hey, they human like there's times at work that I don't perform 100%. No one can perform 100%. You give it 80-20 every day. So I can only imagine someone who is dealing with
you get 80. You need to run the company and get 80.
65.
I get you 60.
So what I'm hearing you say,
understand people. So
what I'm hearing you say that we need to be a little more understanding about Donald Trump then. That's what I heard.
Yeah, because you know what? As a fake psychotherapist, Donald Trump suffers from not only narcissism, but he's also a sociopath. And I think with him, he is not going to be the one that actually is going to be making decisions. It's going to be the people behind him. That's why he's in front of everybody.
Oh,
so,
I have a disclaimer. Yeah. Hold up. I'm not talking about Tiger. I'm not going to put Tiger.
Oh, gosh.
Not Tiger or Freddie Wap. I know those are dealings. But okay, so to wrap this up. So I get what Jessica is. I think Jessica makes a valid point. This is what I want to say. As fans, we need to recognize these celebrities are human beings like the rest of us.
Sure.
And I think these celebrities
recognize so about us.
Exactly. And the celebrities understand the same thing too, about themselves and about us too. If I'm a human and you're a human, and you're going through things, I'm going through things too. Maybe me spending $200 to see you made me depressed because I felt like your song. No, I'm not trying to be funny.
Yeah.
I felt like I was in a bad
No,
point.
it's true.
Man, I've been having a hard month, man, and I've never seen Kanye West. I feel like that can trip my spirits. He's such an inspirational person to me. I feel what he's talking about. I'm gonna go to his show. You know what I'm saying? So I think the celebrities, you gotta understand that they're not gods, and that there are gray areas with them and the fans. I think once we both understand that, I think things will change. I feel like because you can't hover over me. You can't, tell me you're a god and I'm a peasant and you itches is my son, what Nikki says, and you broke this, broke that. When the majority of your fan base can only afford a $10 streaming service thing. They may not can't even afford that. So as fans, these people aren't Jesus, they ain't Paul, they ain't Luke, they ain't Mark, they ain't John.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And rock out. But both of those things have to happen. Celebrities have Kanye West. Kanye West has every right to cancel the shows if he's depressed and get help for that. And we have every right to be upset if for some reason we're not getting our money back. So it's like
you got your money back.
It's a wash. I don't want like Talib said, I don't want to beat anybody down.
Right.
Sure.
But you also have to voice our concerns, because if I don't voice it, then you're not gonna know how you're affecting me. And if you don't know, you may not make the necessary changes. Right. Because you're unaware of my feelings. So we both need to communicate. The fans communicate that we're disappointed. And we need to communicate the missing piece of this with Kanye specifically. We have not heard from him. And maybe it's gonna take some time. It may be, next January, it may be next summer. But there hasn't been any communication from other than I'm not getting my way with something, so I'm gonna point you out. Yeah. No, you're right. The thing that's first about Cudi is that even though Cudi did, backlash, he kind of reneged with that on Twitter. I respect that he put that whole note on Facebook where he put himself out there and was transparent. And if somebody as big as Kanye could do that, just think about how many people that would affect.
It'd be impactful.
Somebody as high as Kanye saying, humbling himself and saying, man, I was bugging, man. You know what I mean? Like I was going through something and I'm working on me. If Kanye, how many people who are depressed, how many people
would come out?
Would come out. If somebody like him, so maybe his biggest fall will help somebody else rise up, because he has that. I mean, Kid Cudi, he's really popular, but Kid Cudi isn't the same level as Kanye. But like, I don't want to fool ourselves here. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Kanye West will come out directly, not through a spokesperson, because we don't know the spokesperson Kanye. We know the Bush don't care about black people, Kanye. Kanye is super duper transparent. He'll tell you his finances. We don't know this. A spokesperson said that we need Kanye West to be as transparent as he ever was, to say, this is what I'm going through. Maybe he has been saying it. Maybe he has been saying it.
Indirectly,
But communication is not just the message, it's how you deliver it. So if we're not getting the message, we need you to do that at least. Just do that. I don't want him to be God. I don't want him to be perfect. I just want him to be honest with the people who have invested in him. Because Jonathan's concert ticket is helping Northwest get through private school. Jessica. Well, Jessica, you streaming College Dropout earlier today. When you was dancing and working out.
Allegedly.
Help clean Kanye West's pool. Talib, you buying late registration.
Sure.
Almost 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Helping Kanye go to Italy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
No, I agree.
That's it.
I totally agree. I went to a concert with Common, and he was 2 hours late, and I vowed not to see Common in concert again. Yeah. And
how you gonna be insensitive like that, Jessica? Look, the whole episode off the table now. We gotta start up. Wait, that's crazy.
Man, I drove to Stockton too, man, in this pouring rain, and that fool was 2 hours late, and then came on and performed like 4 songs. Yeah, Stockton.
I know 2 battle rappers, Aquarius and QP, Quantum Physics, represent Stockton. Okay. I know about Cali, all right?
Really?
I know about Cali. Okay. Yeah, I know about Cali.
Okay. I don't know who they are either.
Yeah, Aquarius is terrible.
Aquarius is trash.
He's top 5 worst rappers ever, man. Like,
yeah, that's it. He was repping Stockton hard though for those first 2 years at Grind Time. He was repping Stockton hard.
Yeah, he was.
Streets of Stockton.
Whoa.
But no, so I get the whole fan accountability. I do. Like I said, I haven't seen him. I haven't seen Common since, and I probably won't. Him and Mos Def, they've made me upset. So
dang, you get upset by Common and Mos Def. Good gracious, Salon gonna be next. You mess Salon too. The whole Neo Soul.
Nah, she better show up on time. I have no time for this. You better be on time performing.
Hey.
Listen, Common was probably lost in traffic. He's probably stuck in traffic somewhere. Common's a stand-up act. Okay, he's a stand-up guy. All right, give Common a bit of credit.
He owed me some concert tickets because he was 2 hours late.
But was the show dope?
You're expecting too much, Jessica. You're expecting too much. They're only human. They're only human, Jessica. All right.
Wait. Can I say something else? So in my mind, I just made a connection between Common and Kanye West, right? So, and I want to ask this real quick. Is there a responsibility of people to do kind of like, what J. Cole did? Because like Walter said, when there is a relationship with the label, right? And the label is doing something they perceive to be shady or something that may be shady, they'll call the label out in front of the world. So in that same vein, if an artist that you are cool with or friends with is doing something that's not right, is it your responsibility as a friend to call them out too publicly, or do we got to just get on the phone? Because we talk about they should have got on the phone, should have just texted them privately, but we never said it about a working relationship with a label. We all want to know if the label's shady. Let us know if they didn't give you $1 or your royalties, but if it's the homeboy, T.I. getting their way, you should have did that privately. So is there a responsibility of the artist to artist to be like, look, if Walter go on a rant, he tripping tomorrow, on Facebook, is it my responsibility? Like, nah, hold on, wait a minute. You got to know, because we don't hear people do that enough. Walter, I think you talked about there may have been, some talking amongst folks in the industry for a while about Kanye West and what's going on, but they don't project that.
I'm sure he get plenty of phone calls from Jay-Z.
Yeah, but they don't project that to us. So what's the place for them to kind of not putting their partner's business all on blast, but also to communicate with the audience to be like, I feel you guys. I hear your concerns, and I share them.
I would prefer keep it above. I would prefer just for it to all be private. I think the most public thing should be the music. That's the thing. That's what I have with not just Kanye, but Kanye's a topic, but when artists go public about anything, the public can't change it. I mean, certain situations are different. Like, if a label's trying to put an album out, it could be for a various amount of reasons. But I think all business should be behind closed doors.
I do too. Yeah,
that's what I think. I think the artists, and I think a lot of artists too, they'll run some magazines, they'll run to press, and they don't have a full understanding of what they're talking about. Yeah. So a lot of times the artists are wrong. Like, they're dead wrong. It's like that thing of like if somebody jokes on you and embarrasses you, apologize to you in public. Apologize to you in private. It's those things. Like, artists will really come out and be like, oh man, I didn't get paid my last year. When it was like, no, you actually got overpaid, and they stopped. They should have been paying you for the year you were being paid. But they stopped because you didn't recoup, because you didn't sell enough records, because your fans didn't buy your music. But we gave you in advance because we thought you were going to sell. So you got cut off because the money now is so over budget that there's no way for you to recoup that. So they'll say, oh man, well, Atlantic Records ain't paying me no more. F Atlantic Records, F labels, but they all shady. And people in the comments like, yeah, man, they're all shady, man. Because I watched this one movie and they were shady, so that means they're all shady. And it's like, but y'all are so far away from the information, because the real information is that they were actually overpaid for 2 years. They got an advance. They just didn't recoup on it. They didn't sell the records. So that's why I think, and I don't want every fan to be so caught up in the business they can enjoy the music. So leave the business behind closed doors and perform. If you have an issue with a label, talk about it with your label. Or there's so many checks and balances. If the label is shady, you have a lawyer. You have a business manager. You have A&Rs. You have publishing. So you mean tell me all 10 people in the room are shady? or maybe you're just doing bad business. Maybe you signed a contract when you didn't have a lawyer, when you didn't hire a lawyer because they told you to give you $6,000. You don't want to spend 500 of that on a lawyer. You wanted to save all your coins, so you didn't pay for a lawyer over the contract that you signed 5 years ago. And now the industry gets shady. So this is what I'm talking about. There are instances where people get taken advantage of. There's also instances where artists are beating up account managers for mistakes that the artist made. So it's all these things that I think the public don't even know how the cookies being made. I don't need to know how McDonald's making the milkshake. Paul.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
But sometimes you don't. Like sometimes if you knew how a movie was made, now I can see where the strings are. Now I can see that that's the stunt. Yeah, sometimes you don't need to see that. Just watch Avengers and be happy. Sometimes you just need to enjoy the entertainment. And because some people don't know how to decipher, it's so much information. People don't know how to decipher it. They don't know. They don't know that when they see a million units sold, it wasn't sold. That was million units shipped. They don't need to know the specifics.
We put so much trust in the artist. It's like an artist gets on, right? 22 years old, 19 years old. Talk about how they a high school dropout. They tell you all these lies in the raps that you can see it's obvious lies. I got a Maserati. I've killed 10 people. And we just brush all that aside. That same 22-year-old artist from the backwoods of Sacramento get up there and be like, yeah, man, Illuminati industry shady, this and this and that. We'd be like, see, I told you, they know it all. They know it all because they signed. It's like, wait a minute, like that person just got on. Like, how do you, like they ain't even met the person nowhere.
Thank you, man.
It's funny how someone in the same vein we say we don't trust the bar that they rap, and then we trust everything they say because
that's why
they signed a contract.
And now you get why I'm always so frustrated
loud.
By that. Because it's like loud, right, like loud and frustrated, Sarah. I'll shout to Sarah. But that's why I'm always so frustrated. It's like because no matter what I say, it's gonna seem like I'm defending something, but I'm literally saying, if you don't believe this person is the real Noriega, the old Noriega holding your favors, then why do you believe that? Because they're feeding you to what you want to believe. You want to believe it's a mystical, complex maze. Right. So even if they hint at something, you believe it. So again, an entertaining lie is gonna catch on more than a boring truth. That's not the music industry. That's just life. That's just life, period. Yeah. You had people who were doing rain dances all year, hoping that the rain would come. They didn't know about precipitation. They didn't know that it was gonna come down anyway. And that's kind of like the music industry. It's like it's if you don't really know, you're gonna make up these things that sound good. And then the artists, and some of the artists who get signed, keep in mind, they're like us. Some of the artists are coming into it thinking, where the labels are shady. So they're gonna just play with that. They're gonna pander to that because they know fans are gonna fight it up. They're not gonna tell you I effed up. They're gonna blame it on the label because it's easy. But when they win, it's I want to thank myself, that one manager, my mom, and the hood. It's never I want to thank Sally who paid for my grandmother's surgery when my records weren't selling. I want to thank Bob who actually booked me 5 tours and begged to put me on the Kanye and begged to put me on the Kanye West tour while I didn't have my fan base up. I want to thank Trevor for taking a chance on me when I was outside of his office begging for food. And you took and that A&R took me out to dinner, my first dinner I had in 3 months. I want to thank them. They don't say stuff like that. They have to be superheroes. That they have to be because superheroes sell records. Even if you are the super conscious guy who lives in a mansion somewhere in Connecticut, but I'm gonna ride the bus. I'm gonna take the bus and ride the bike. And I'm super conscious. I'm gonna grow my hair all out and say I'm super conscious, but I really live in a mansion in Connecticut. I don't know what that could be. But my image is the backpack, keeping it real. I don't care about money rapper, which makes me more money. It's like
plot twist.
The main thing Kanye West said that I agree with, because sometimes he's not lying. I said 80%. When he says all of this stuff isn't real, all of the stuff isn't real. None of this stuff is you're a slave to public perception. That part I agree with. I agree with where he's going, but the lies that you have to tell to get there, I don't agree with. When like the memes, I love the whole Black empowerment thing, but you don't have to make a fake meme with fake numbers to drum up support. Just get to the real message. Don't lie to get people to follow you. That's what I'm saying.
Here's part of the problem, though, and I know we got to wrap up, but here's part of the problem.
Yeah, this is juicy.
Yeah, no, here's part of the problem. Because
y'all went off on topic. That's what you
sorry.
know.
Hey,
That's
we're
true.
paying homage. We're paying homage to Kanye.
That's true. So, and here's where things get sticky, right? Because that is true. We understand that. The problem is, where was the transparency about everything being fake when you had all these ghostwriters in album 1, when it was ghost production? Like, if all of it's so fake, but you were the genius. You've been the only genius. You feel me? Like, that's the hypocrisy of it. Like, all is fake. I'm trying to show y'all the real. You believe in all this public perception. Yeah, like you write and you produce everything yourself, and all the ideas are yours. That was part of the fakeness.
That was a How to Die rebuttal. That was a good rebuttal. Like,
so you adding to that. So don't try to show me the light, my brother. If you adding to the fake, just be real. Put them people on your records. Put the names down. But you can't because I wouldn't have felt the same way about College Dropout had I known everything about it. So let's just not try to expose it when it's beneficial to you. Then like it's a catch-22.
Industry politics. And they go, so yeah, that's a good point. So basically wrap this up, guys, is that well, this is a good topic. But again, mental health should be treated. It should be treated like a serious situation. Like Jessica Talib said, just because somebody isn't hitting the bottle or you see them smile and they're having fun doesn't mean that they're not going through something. I definitely think that we can't write it off. I honestly, for Kanye West, I want us, and I'm just saying this is my opinion. I think we should take it as a serious situation.
Yeah.
Right. I'm taking this as a serious situation. I just don't want for this to allow them to do more damage, or B, I don't want the celebrities to feel like this is an out for them. Right. I want to take this serious, and I want others to take this serious. I want Kanye to take this serious. I want the historical to take this serious. I want anybody else in that same situation to take this serious. Because our greatest legends who've had issues, once they've overcome them, have been some of the most inspiring people that we've had. Right? And Kanye's in the platform where like he can do something that Jay can't do. He can do something that Beyonce can't do. He can speak from a place of being the underdog, of being depressed, of being that regular cat. Kanye West can do something that they can't do. And until he realizes that he's gonna be in that same situation. He has the chance, the voice, to really speak to a lot of people going through what Talib has been through, what I see people go through. But I just hope that he takes that power back. So I'll be happy, whenever Kanye's time, whatever it is, when he speaks out again. And I'm interested to seeing what his next words are when he gets a chance to speak for himself and the situation. So I'm not saying he can't mess up again, that he won't have more rants. I'm just saying, I'm just interested to see what happens after this. Okay, because we have to see some growth. Any person dealing with anything, we have to see growth. So even if it's small growth, baby steps. But we gotta see something. We have to see something. Because when God gives you that kind of a platform, you have to, even if it's hard to do. I'm not saying he has a time limit, but there has to be something to where he has to be accountable for it. And that's without people pulling up their pitchforks. That's about beating him down. But there has to be something done. Has to be. All right. So last words for this topic. Shauna, give me your last words and shout outs.
Yeah, sometimes we're really specific about situations. So, I don't want to come off as insincere about, mental health and rap. I felt like we kind of focused on the Kanye situation. I thought that was different, but in general, I think, as a culture, right? Because there's hip hop culture, there's, Black culture, there's, all these different cultures that have their own shortcomings. But I think in both of those communities, we need to find a lane that folks can feel comfortable and then support it at the same time, because it's a very unforgiving culture. So, I think that's something we need to work on. Is that Biz Marquee or something?
You mean Dougie Fresh.
So, both of them. So, I think we need to find that. And I think it is a very serious issue, and I'll be interested in talking more about what are, things that we can look for, although it's different in everyone, in artists to kind of, so we can get to the issue before it becomes the Kanye situation. So.
That's what's up. Any shout outs you want to give, man, to the SAC? What's up? Oh.
Shout outs. I will say this. I am sure that, I would bet good money that there is someone watching this video right now that has also been suffering from depression, and I encourage that person to get help. And if you know me personally, call, write, text, email, whatever you're comfortable with, because I know people, personally in my life, not just students that I work with, because that, that's more simple. But people personally in my life that I know battle with it, that don't think anybody knows. And there are times where people know and have conversations as family and friends and be like, yeah, you can see that person isn't wearing it well, but you kind of don't know what angle to come from. So I would encourage those people, to continue to seek support and get help.
Yeah, and we say too, if you see people, if somebody's on Facebook saying, because I take stuff serious. People are like, oh man, like I'm waiting for, my life to be over, or the world's gonna end, or it's just those things. Just like you really can't just glide over that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't just laugh at LOL. Like, hit them on the side, like, everything's going on, everything's good. We don't want to talk like that, but like, holla at me. You know what I'm saying? You never know what you may say to somebody could really change their life. Don't underestimate what your impact on somebody is. They may not have had anybody ask them how they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this person is such a big boss, and they get millions of likes. They ain't thinking about me. You never know. You just reaching out, and they may brush you aside. So be it. You kind of done what you done, but don't ever brush somebody's those factors, those indicators. Don't just brush those people under the rug. You may have an impact on somebody's life that you don't even realize. So it never hurts to reach out. Never hurts. You may get paid, You know what I'm saying? But you'll be okay. You know what I'm saying? But you will feel worse knowing that you could have said something. Then, you know what I'm saying? So it's all good. Jessica, any last words, shout outs, what's up?
Yeah, I just think, all the points that you all made were excellent. I think too, just for us, I think we have to understand that even if Kanye does come out and he admits and he takes accountability, that with mental health issues, it's an ongoing process. Change is an ongoing process. It's not an overnight fix. So if he comes out and admits it, he divorces Kim, whatever, that doesn't mean Kanye is going to be back to 100%. So I just want everybody to really understand how mental health really works. I think it's a very, we're trying to do better at understanding it, but we haven't done a great job like we should have. But I just think people need to understand that change is not overnight, and getting help for mental health issues is not a one-time therapy process. It can take years for someone to get to where they need to be. I also want to encourage Black people. We've been through so much, y'all, and we continue to go through a lot. And I think Black men, Black women, Black children, there should be nothing wrong with you guys getting help and getting therapy. I know that we have a lot of stigma against asking for help, but there's a lot of African-American therapists out there. There's a lot of other non-melanin people who have studied African-American families and understand how to help you as well too. And I just encourage you all to get that mental health that you need, because this world could be so much. And also to take some time to deplug from social media. All these comments and everything, sometimes you just need a break. I just think too, again, we need to just make sure that we understand mental health. And if we are going to be forgiving of Kanye, we do need to be forgiving of other people like Azalea Banks. I don't really rock with her music that much, but I can tell based off of her rants and her posts, she's going through some stuff as well too. So I just think it needs to be something that is spread across the board, where we ask for love, prayer, and accountability. And understanding that accountability doesn't necessarily mean someone coming up admitting that they're having a problem, but they're willing to go get help. And that takes a lot of courage. So that's my rant. Shout out to all my family in Sacramento. This is cool. I was going to say something more gangster, but I don't have it.
No hand movements and none of that. I ain't trying to get caught up.
No, I won't do no hand movements. You're right. Oh, get that new Drizzy album, because it is fire. All right, that's
you said who, Drizzy?
Drizzy is so yes.
Oh, is she the one that had that Close to You joint with T-Pain?
Yes.
That album is hard. That album is hard.
Please get it. Everything that I wish Nicki would have been, but we won't go there.
Oh God.
Save that.
Yeah, you're right.
No 8-bar build-up. She's been straight to it. One thing I want to mention too. Okay, for Kanye, keep in mind, folks, he has a wife and he has 2 kids. Yeah. So if we need him to get better for himself and his family, we can wait.
And
you put out Jesus 2 later. You know what I'm saying? Well, no.
Right.
But I want him to be right for his wife and his kids and his family. Yeah, because that's the most important thing for real. You know what I'm saying? They're going through if you're mad over $100, you should be. But their father, you know what I mean, is going through some stuff, and her husband. So represent for that. Talib, any last words, man? Shout outs.
Yeah, man. Last words. I feel like we're in a place, like as a whole, as a community, we're moving more towards taking the stigma away from mental health. We got to keep going. Like, there's still some people that refuse to understand that it's a thing, it's a real thing, and has many different layers to it. We just got to keep pushing, keep fighting. I think things are starting to change for the better. But we do got to take it out of rap, though. We can't have that be the thing that it's like the rallying cry for hip hop, of being hyper masculine and all that. So we got to just remove that and just make music for people to enjoy, not so much to tear down and all that good stuff. That's it.
Like I'm tough. I'm tough. I'm tougher. I'm the toughest.
Yeah, but like all that is one side. We got to talk about like OJ Juice Man first album. It's two sides to the trap. You know what I mean? So it's definitely two sides. But I think we'll get there. We got to keep pushing and collectively, educate each other and take the ignorance out of it. Yeah, we'll be straight. Shout out. Yeah. Everybody from Jersey, holding down, rap nerds coming soon. Got blogs coming out and all that good stuff. So that's it.
Yeah, shout out to everybody, man, that's been watching, that's been tuned in. Oh yeah, shout out to Isaiah and TC Mac, about breaking down the advance. Yeah, I mean, I could go into stuff forever. I have Live the Biz, which we kind of teach about what goes on in the music industry. In the new year, I'm going to be starting actually a webcast from Live the Biz, where I get to kind of just do my rants, but also just give you some information. I just talk about all the stuff that we are doing wrong. Just kind of educate you guys on what actually happens. And then at the panels, you get to hear from these people. My goal for Live the Biz is to make the industry as super transparent as possible. I don't want you to think you see these tall buildings that people are just hiding out. I'm bringing the people out of the office to the panels. You can meet these people. I want to break this down. I don't want to keep saying that.
Be careful, they go silence you.
Like, right, exactly. I don't want to keep my first event. I had like the senior vice president of Viacom. He controls H1 MTV team, the head of Sony, and like Rock Nation. Like, I had people there to kind of explain what goes on, man, so you can see these faces. I'm giving people a platform to speak that you wouldn't hear from, who are really the movers and shakers of it. So so if you like what I'm talking about, just tune into Live the Biz, and I'll talk more and rant more for you guys. But it won't be just ranting. It'll be actually some educational things you guys can use in your own careers, whether you want to be an executive or you want to be an artist. So, okay. So thank you guys again for supporting. It's about to be the end of the year, man. This year been by fast, man.
You know what next week is? You know what next week is?
Yeah. So our last two episodes are going to be lit. We're not going to have an episode on Christmas. I'm sorry. We got to go be home with our families. But next week is going to be the top R&B and pop albums of 2016, man.
Lemonade.
We're gonna run
at the table.
I can't wait.
And for those who are confused, we're adding pop because it's like this is kind of fusion, like music kind of crossing the genre lines. So we just saying R&B and pop together. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it really is like a top 10 list. It's kind of like the top 7-8 albums that really had a major impact this year. So we'll get into that. And then the episode after that is going to be the top rap albums of 2016, which is perfect timing. Cole drops this week, which is highly anticipated. Oh, and the locks. Oh, and the locks. Oh, of course.
And the locks.
Please don't get the locks. I'm not buying. Please don't got that locks album ASAP. You know what I'm saying? Let me take a shower first. Just right to bed and go get the album.
I got you, bro.
Stream it and buy it. You know what I mean? Tell a friend. So those are gonna drop. And to answer your question, if an R&B album drops after the episode or rap album after the episode, I can't help you. You know what I'm saying? We'll just consider that 2017.
Right.
It's so late in the game. It's gonna be hard to listen to an album within a week and be like, oh, well, this competed with lemonade. You know what I mean? It's gonna,
Exactly.
it's gonna be. But we're giving a shot now to people to drop albums in the next 2 weeks. So
unless it's that fire, if it's like super duper fire, then
yeah. I mean, unless it's Jay or Nas, I think we've missed that window of Jay and Nas at this point.
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
Yeah, hey, you never.
It can happen.
To my knowledge, don't expect nothing. Expect some February, March releases. Don't expect nothing else in December. I think Cole will probably be the last major release.
Yeah, probably so.
Unless we get something for Christmas, which could be a Nas project, but
Christmas album.
I don't know. If you haven't heard of
Gucci.
Okay, well,
Gucci's the best, man. Come on, man.
Gucci's all right, cool. So y'all make sure y'all tune into those. If you want to subscribe, you should subscribe. YouTube.com/BMOCTV. Want some updates? Go to the Facebook page, Facebook.com/BMOCTV. If you want to join the group, a lot of these topics come from the group, man. We can really get it in. If there's something, if you guys want to kind of like just talk more, elaborate on some of these topics, come to the group. Let your voice be heard. Facebook.com/group. That's BMOCTV. I am letting people in now. So we had to hold down. Things got a little crazy. Now. Yeah, I got a little nervous. Like I don't want to let nobody else in here act all wild and crazy. So now we let people in and all that. So again, thanks y'all for tuning in. Even Sarah, shout out to you. Get some quieter headphones. And that's it. Okay, I'm BMOC. Peace out.